Let me ask you something. What if a stranger sat down next to you in a bar and started a conversation that wasn't just small talk, but was actually a confession, one that was designed to completely unravel your own sense of who you are? Well, that's the incredibly chilling idea behind Albert Camus' novel The Fall. It's not just a story, it's a kind of philosophical trap. So picture this. You're sitting in a grimy sailor's bar called Mexico City, tucked away in the foggy canals of Amsterdam. A man walks up to you. He's incredibly well-spoken, kind of charming, and he wants to talk. But as he starts speaking, you get this strange feeling that you're not just a random listener. You're about to become his confessor.
So, who is this guy? This stranger in Amsterdam? He seems both totally out of place here, and yet perfectly at home in this grim little corner of the world. Let's get to know the man who's about to confess everything.
He introduces himself as Jean-Baptiste Clements. But as he's talking, you get this really unnerving sense that he's looking right through you. It's like he already knows you better than you know yourself. He's sizing you up, getting ready to tell a story that feels less like his story and more like an accusation aimed at you. From a lawyer to a judge penitent. I mean, what on earth is that? The two words just don't go together. A judge who also repents for his sins? It's a total contradiction, and it's the central mystery that Clements is about to lay out for us. So, to understand what a judge penitent is, Clements takes us back in time. We're leaving the gloom of Amsterdam behind and heading to the bright lights of Paris, where he used to live a life that looked, from the outside, absolutely perfect, a life he called his life on the summits. And you have to understand, back in Paris, Clements was a superstar, a famous lawyer who only took on the noble cases, defending widows, orphans, the people who were truly victims. He was seen as this great champion of justice, so virtuous he even turned down the Legion of Honor, which is France's highest award. In his own head, he was completely untouchable, totally above it all. He talks about this deep satisfaction he would get from these very public acts of kindness, like making a big show of helping a blind person across a crowded street. But here's the thing. It was never about the person he was helping. It was a performance of virtue that he had perfected, all to feed his own massive ego. So the image he was selling was a total fraud, carefully constructed. On the surface, he's the defender of the weak, a generous man of virtue. But his real motive? It was all for him. Every nice gesture, every passionate defense in the courtroom, it was all a calculated move to lift himself up, to put himself on a summit above everyone else, where no one could ever judge him. And listen to how he puts it. His whole goal wasn't just to win cases. It was to judge the judges themselves. He was living in this state of self-made impunity, like a god of his own making, protected from any and all criticism by this fortress he built out of his own good deeds. But when you live on a peak that high, you're pretty much destined for a fall. And Clements' fall didn't start with some big disaster. Nope, it started with something much smaller and way, way more terrifying. Just a sound. The whole thing starts to unravel on this beautiful autumn evening. Clements is just walking across the Pont des Arts in Paris, feeling totally on top of the world, completely satisfied with his perfect life. So he's there, just soaking in his own glory, and suddenly he hears a laugh, a really clear, loud laugh, right behind him. He whips around, and there's nobody there. The bridge is completely empty. The sound seems to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. And that's it. That's the first crack in his perfect facade. That laugh really got to him. It haunted him. But it was another night on another bridge that brought his entire world crashing down for good. And this time, it wasn't a sound he heard. It was something he saw and couldn't ignore. He's walking home late one night in the rain, and he passes a woman leaning over a bridge. A few moments later, he hears that unmistakable sound, a body hitting the water, then a cry for help. He stops. He knows exactly what he should do. And he does. Absolutely nothing. It's just chilling, isn't it? This supposed champion of the weak, the great defender of justice, is just frozen. He stands there, listens as the cries fade away, and then he just turns and walks away. Doesn't tell a soul. The hypocrisy of his entire life is exposed in that one single awful moment of doing nothing. So after the laugh and after the splash, the illusion is completely gone. Clemens can't hide behind his act anymore. He's forced to look in the mirror and face who he really, truly is. Everything just falls apart. He finally sees that his generosity, his kindness, his fight for justice, it was all an act, a role he was playing to win applause from everyone else, and, maybe most importantly, from himself. And his honesty about it is brutal. He admits that at his core, it was never about justice or helping people. It was pure vanity. His whole life was just a monument to himself, a constant loop of I. And here is where his personal confession gets bigger. He starts looking around and realizes everyone is playing the exact same game. We are all actors, all hiding our own vanity and selfishness behind these masks of being good people. In his eyes, we're all guilty. Okay, so what do you do when you have this horrifying realization that you, and basically everyone else, is a fraud? That we're all living under this constant threat of being judged? Well, Clemenza comes up with a brilliant and deeply cynical solution. He invents a brand new profession for himself. His solution is this incredible psychological trick. See, to keep other people from judging you, you have to judge yourself first, and you have to do it loudly and publicly. By confessing your own guilt for everyone to see, you cleverly earn the right to turn the tables and judge the whole world. His method is basically a four-step trap. First, he accuses himself, going into every single detail of his own failings. Second, his confession becomes a mirror. As you're listening to him, you start to see little pieces of yourself in his story. Third, you're implicated. Suddenly you realize, hey, we're all in this together. And bam, step 4. At that exact moment, he's earned the right to judge you. The logic here is just, wow. It's a cynical masterpiece. He's transferring his guilt. By forcing you to see your own hypocrisy through his story, he makes his own burden lighter. He's not alone in his fall anymore, because he successfully dragged you down there with him. And in that shared darkness, he finds a whole new kind of power. And that brings us right back to where we started, in that bar with his eyes locked on you. This whole story, this really elaborate confession, it's all been a setup. He showed you his reflection so that you would be forced to see your own. And his very last question flips that mirror directly on you, making you ask yourself, what was your moment? When did you hear the splash? And just walk away.